when I set the page up, and then finished my training workout, got a text from my sister being like, "We already hit your milestone."
There's nothing like a TCC podcast, man.
But then it would also be only you wearing the headphones and us two.
No. I have my headphones. I want to buy the big jack so I can listen to it a little bit, and then at one point we'll buy 3 pairs.
So for a couple of episodes, it's just gonna be you wearing headphones.
Oh man, like just for a few minutes.
By the way, I started recording. If you want to put the mic closer to you. Yeah.
Is this better?
I think.
I think yeah.
I think you're doing great. If you want to put it closer to you as well.
I think it's good. It's like it's weird having the
You
mic
gotta be
straight in my
comfortable,
face.
man.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like an hour or so. So
Peripheral vision.
Do you like this? Do you like the view? Or
The view. People coming in,
Yeah,
seeing through the
it's
windows.
Usually, like we take down.
Does anyone like
yeah.
peep through the windows while you've been recording or
A
noticed
couple of
it?
people did, but they didn't notice. I think.
What?
Yeah.
People pee?
Sometimes they do. Usually there's like a couple of, I don't know if they're homeless people or not, but they come and they pee next to the containers. So
During the podcast.
You're witnessing greatness and they're witnessing greatness.
yeah, man. So like one time we were recording and the guy was just peeing and looking at us.
No. With who?
You didn't even notice.
Who was
right?
no? Who was
It was with no, it wasn't with John. It was with Amin.
No way, I didn't notice. No.
Yeah, it was with Amin, man.
That's pretty.
Amin
funny.
was like they're talking about pottery, high talk, and I turn and there's like this homeless peeing on the container, peeping at us. Yeah. Anyways, Dan, you wanna do the honors?
We start? Yeah.
Oh yeah, we started. It's
But
been
this is not a.
yeah, we'll keep
You're gonna
it.
put this
a bit
into.
of
Yeah, of
a bit of
course, man.
banter,
A bit of banter,
going
man.
more. Yeah.
Okay, so let's do the official intro. Hi everyone. Today we have Cameron over. Since we started this podcast, as you all know, we started this to have people over with interesting life experiences, interesting stories to tell us so we can learn from them too. And when we started, I remember Lorenzo telling me about this guy named Cameron with an amazing story to tell us, something very inspiring. So when we started, this guy, Cameron, sitting to my left, was on the top of that list. So today we have him over. I'm extremely excited because I don't know him as much as Lorenzo does. So I'm extremely excited to know a little bit about your story too.
Yeah.
Just to start with, thank you for being here,
Yeah.
first of all.
Yeah, I'm
And
excited to be here.
can you introduce yourself with
Yeah.
a little bit of your backstory?
Yeah, I mean, based off that introduction, you're gonna give me a bit of an ego, basically being humbled and everything. But yeah, so my name's Cameron Carone. I've been in Dublin for about 3 years now. It's been almost 3 years since our graduate program. But yeah, I'm originally from Chicago, the Midwest of the United States. I'm 27 years old. I just turned 27. Feel like
You look
I'm
23.
Yeah, I was with Lorenzo about maybe a month ago. Was it a month ago where I was turned down from a pub? They thought I was
serve him alcohol. And he had like the employee badge from Google and everything coming back from work.
just completely
He just looked like a student.
completely rejected me. Thought I was under 18, which was a bit annoying.
and a
But
compliment too.
but yeah, people keep telling me it's a compliment, but yeah, it's you have to deal with that. But besides the point, but yeah, I guess the reason, I guess the topic was about Ironmans, about training, that kind of respect. A bit about me in that realm. I've participated in, how many have I participated in so far? I've participated in 2 half Ironman races, and then I've also participated in a marathon race, and this is all spanning about 2 years. So I'm quickly like ramping up, trying to figure out what events I want to do next. In that sense, I'm starting to get a bit addicted to the grind, addicted to the hustle. So yeah, excited to be on, excited to talk about kind of my journey and stuff. Yeah,
Nice,
I
man.
guess, yeah.
This morning, did you go for the 5K run in the end?
So I did. I ended up doing a 5K test run yesterday. So this past week was a bit tough. It was pretty draining just from a training perspective. So I recently got a coach for
you?
triathlon training.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So she's based in Chicago as well. But her name's Avery Lewis. Shout out Avery Lewis. She's
Shout out.
fantastic. Yeah. North Central University women's triathlon and swimming coach.
Wow.
Yeah. So she's a big deal. But yeah, so this past week's been test week. So like trying to push my limits to see where I'm at in terms of like my training, in terms of my power output, in terms of my like average like run times and everything. And yesterday I was supposed to do a 5K test today, but I did 5K run test yesterday just because I had the time. and I finished it in 19 minutes and 5 seconds. So
Is that
that's
amazing,
my
or-
that's my new PR
Oh, wow, okay.
and everything. So that's that. My previous PR was 19 minutes 28 seconds. So that's about for a 5K. I think that's about 3 minutes and 45 seconds, about, or 3 minutes 50 around that per kilometer. So running that pace, I think my heart rate got up to like 198, which was
Sheesh, that's a lot, man.
198 is
It's a lot.
dangerous,
Oh.
bro.
I was starting to get tunnel vision towards the end. I was running past a little league Gaelic football practice, and they were about to witness a kid pass
You
out,
gotta smash your head
running and
on
everything.
on the concrete.
Yes, exactly.
Wow.
But it was, yeah. So I was pretty feeling the effects of it today, but I still have to do a 70-minute cycle today. So
Ooh.
that comes a bit later. I was too lazy to do it this morning, but
Because right now you are preparing for an Ironman.
yeah. So I'm preparing for a half Ironman in Nice. So that would be a 1.8 kilometer swim, a 90 kilometer bike, and then a 21.2 kilometer run. So that's about, or 21.1 kilometer run. So that's a half marathon. So it's all those for all those people who don't know triathlon speak or any of those out there. But that's all combined back to back within a day. It usually takes the average person about like 6 hours 30 minutes to
Yeah.
complete. But I've, like, from the past few races I've done, I've continually beat my time, so I'm continuing to push that.
So you're no average person. That's
I guess I'm being bragging from that perspective.
good, man. Yeah.
But I have a buddy back home who basically helped me get into triathlon, kind of encouraged me to do it as well. And we've been like battling each other, beating each other's times, and trying to see.
That's healthy.
I beat him pretty bad the last time, so yeah. So he's got some work to pick up, but yeah, it's been good so far. It's been a nice little activity, a hobby.
Just to add a little bit to your story, for everyone to understand, you're doing this on the side, right? You have a full-time job.
Yes, yeah,
So
yeah.
it seems like you're a full-time pro.
No,
but
no,
you have
no.
a job too.
Yes.
Like, on the side.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, working full time in sales, and then yeah, so the training persists probably, like, I'll probably reach from what my coach told me, about 15 hours a week of training. So I haven't reached that part yet. I'm probably about like 8 or 9 hours in a week of training. So it's going to pick up and ramp up from that perspective, but have to be super organized if I want to do like training before work or training after work, or both in that respect.
Is it just cardio training or also strength and?
It's a little bit of it's a lot of it's making sure that you don't overtire yourself out from let's say like squatting with like weights and stuff. It's like a lot of mobility, a lot of like flexibility stuff, a lot of core work from like a strength perspective. So like I think over the course of a week I'll have like 2 45-minute sessions in a gym where I'm basically just doing flexibility, mobility, core, and that stuff in the gym, as opposed to kind of like going up and doing, let's say,
Biceps and
yeah,
French press,
or sitting at a machine,
Yeah,
and doing like
which is
bicep
what we
pull
do.
downs.
Wait, yeah. Oh, such a different.
Does all of this come with paying a price for not being able to see friends as much, or not being able to do other hobbies?
A little bit. I'd say definitely my girlfriend's probably a little bit upset how much I spend training
You can
from that
apologize
perspective.
here if you want.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, Sophie. But no, I mean, it hasn't impacted me too much yet. I think from a training perspective, and from what I've gathered and kind of understood, like when it comes to a half Ironman versus a full Ironman, like half Ironman, you can kind of get away with half-assing yourself a little bit in terms of training, in terms of like missing a day of training, in terms of that, and kind of like going out having a drink, that respect. When you go past the half Ironman route and you go into full Ironman territory, you're definitely giving up a little bit more. You have to be a bit more conscious of like what's going in your body in terms of nutrition, in terms of preparing yourself for that next training session. I guess the biggest thing that I'm starting to understand a bit more, and kind of I'm more conscious of now, is eating to train as opposed to training to eat, in that respect. So like I think a lot of my workouts, and before like getting into triathlon training, cardio like exercise, was I can eat whatever I want because I'm working out. Now it's like I can't eat this, otherwise I will feel like shit if I go for an hour run. Like,
Do you
and
have an ultra fat diet at the moment, which is something that lots of endurance athletes have?
an ultra fat diet.
Yeah.
I'd say like it's just keeping an eye. I haven't like had like a tight nutrition list that I've been following. I avoid like certain foods just because I don't want like acid reflux. In
Can
that
you
sense.
develop on that? Which
What?
ones do you avoid? Like fast food and ultra
Oh,
processed
like
food, or
my cheat days are definitely like Saturdays after I get done with a long training period. Or like because Saturdays are my big days in terms of training. But like I still eat. I still probably cheat more than I should in terms of food, in terms of that stuff. There's definitely a lot of things that I'll avoid. Like I have to drink, like, just because with you Joe, don't drink enough water during the day, you'll definitely feel a bit more acidic when you're running, and that's always the worst thing in the world,
Yeah.
or training. So kind of diving into a bit of that and understanding like I need to hydrate a lot more and like
So
make
lots
sure
of
that I'm
cranberry juice. And stuff like that.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I've like forced myself to drink like 2-3 liters of water a day, like at work, and like I'm even not even reaching that point, which is tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you would be having like a full day at work, and after that you would go home, drop your bag, and go for a 10K run.
Pretty much for the most part. Like this week, I'll have like this upcoming week tomorrow. I'll have to swim in the morning, and then I'll have to either do a run after work or a bike after work. But there's some days where I'll go after work, go home, do a bike. So I have like a trainer inside, so I'll train inside as opposed to outside, just because can't predict the weather in Dublin. And then
know that.
I'll have to hop off the bike and do a run, like an off the bike run or whatever. They call it like a brick day in that sense of like doing things back to back
Wow,
from each other.
okay.
Yeah.
And you also have the mental perspective into the formula, because you are setting a date where
Yeah.
you're gonna have to compete,
Yeah.
and you don't want to get injured. You want to be 100%
Yeah.
ready for that moment.
Yeah.
And this is also a lot of pressure. I'm noticing it also on myself for a competition that I have in April.
Yeah.
That is nothing compared to yours. But I'm noticing that I never had this many amount of injuries in my life as now that I've set the date where
Yeah.
I'm going to have to compete. And it's probably has something to do with your mental state.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. I think I've avoid a lot of other physical activities that I do. Like, for example, I played, I think like as I was starting my first week of training, like back onto an actual schedule, I played one hour of football where I didn't stretch as much as I should have, and the next day I was dying.
Yeah.
Like I was feeling so bad.
Yeah.
My neck was stiff. Like it was just rough to kind of get through that. So it's like sacrificing those things. I'd say that's where, like, going back to your question, like in terms of the things you sacrifice, it's a lot of things that will prevent injury, but also prevent you from like actually training in the future in that sense. But yeah.
how beneficial? Like this is maybe to get a little bit of your knowledge.
Yeah.
How beneficial are these stretching sessions? Is it for running? You feel it after? Is it to not get injured?
I'd
What is it
say
for?
it's like it's definitely there's definitely a lot it's focus on warming up instead of like diving into everything and then being able to stretch afterwards. Like yesterday, didn't really stretch as much as I should have just because I was so gassed. But definitely feel the effects of it after, and like just kind of like making sure that like probably should have done that beforehand and trying to making sure that like that's set. And but I have like I think like at the moment my best friend is probably my like hypervolt like massage gun, making sure that
okay, now
making
I'm
sure
familiar
that
with Theragun,
that's
yeah,
a Theragun,
hypervolt, okay.
yeah, so like using that like when I'm sitting on a couch doing nothing, like
Oh, really?
yeah, it's good.
I thought that was actually meant to be used for preparing the muscles to something.
Yeah, I mean, like I think it could be used in both realms.
Oh,
Like
okay.
it just kind of helps because I get a lot of nuts in my back and my legs, so like I just kind of just try to do it.
Yeah, no, fair. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, you can't cheat cardio. I was thinking that maybe we can enter the gym and shorten our workouts by maybe doing massive lifts or less reps and
Yeah.
higher volume or something like that. But with cardio, you know that you're gonna run for the next hour and 30 minutes,
Yeah,
and there's no way to run around it, right?
yeah. You can't skip any parts of it unless like there is actually like an injury during it or like you're not feeling good from that perspective. Then like your body's telling you no, you gotta get off of it. Which I feel like I sometimes have a hard time listening to that sense and listening to understanding like okay, like you're starting to get a little bit of a cramp, maybe you should tone it down a little bit.
Yeah.
Or just like making sure you're maintaining yourself so that you're not going all out now so you ruin your workout tomorrow and training session tomorrow. So there's that realm to it. So it gets pretty intense from that perspective. But yeah, it's always like future planning. It's always predicting the next workout or the next training session.
And
Yeah.
how does the coach that you have now track your performance? Because she's definitely not here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because it's like it's funny because it's so like there's apps and there's like social media things like Strava.
Yeah.
There's this thing that I use
Strava's
called
great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Strava's fantastic. I love Strava. It's like naming the workouts. I actually like funny enough I like name it's one of the best features they have I think on it, which is like name like you can select your shoes and then it'll track how far you've ran in your shoes, because if you run too far in a certain pair of shoes, then the traction and the core of it kind of like breaks down and it ends up being bad for your knees and your shins and everything.
Insane.
But yeah, she tracks me through this app called like Training Peaks, which like she'll give me like I can look at my workouts for the week. I have to give like comments and like tell her how I'm feeling after each workout. And then she'll take that feedback into the next session, into the next like workout and so on. But then like we'll have like a meeting like once a month to kind of like go through, talk everything. But yeah, it's a bit interesting with the time difference and everything. But yeah, try it's basically like giving as much color to a workout or a training session as you can. So then she can be like, oh, maybe avoid this. Maybe let's hold back on doing this swimming exercise and focus more on this, or like let's not do really intense interval training right now. Let's just do casual workouts. But yeah, so it's that realm. So that's nice. But yeah.
Besides the app, how do you track your heart rate and all that? You have a watcher?
So I have a
Garmin.
Garmin. I'm a big Garmin man. I have a Garmin Forerunner. Basically, like I've become addicted to like looking at that like tracks like everything from like heart rate to body battery to stress to like sleep. I have like a permanent like tan mark because I've like haven't taken this watch off in like I don't know how long.
Really?
Just because I take it off for like 15 minutes to charge and then I'll just put it back on and there's just like dead skin.
Trucks your sleep as well, right?
Oh yeah, and it's funny just because like you probably could get away with being like, oh, like had a good night's sleep last night, and then I'm like, no, I need to double check, see if I actually had a good night's sleep on my phone and everything.
Do you know Garmin then?
I know the brand Garmin.
Body battery, man. When Cam explained it to me, I freaked out. It's such a great idea.
Why?
Because that's like a thing that like Whoop does. I think it's like
I
another
want
brand.
to ask about this now.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think that's the thing that like Whoop does that's a bit more accessible. I think like Garmin, you can get pretty expensive watches that'll track like fitness, track your body. Like body battery basically just assumes like it takes in based off your heart rate, based off of like your heart rate volatility. So like the amount your heart rate moves up and down. It'll understand like if you're in stressful situations and so on, and it'll take that in consideration your body battery. And then say if you're too drained or if this isn't going to be a productive workout or if like how much you need to wait for it to be a productive workout and stuff like that. It becomes addicting, like looking at the app and everything.
Because I was wondering whether I should get a Whoop or not, but then I thought if it says I'm too tired for the day, I will know I'm too tired, so I won't feel as active.
Yeah,
so then I thought maybe I shouldn't get it. You know, that I'm on the fence there. Do you think it really affects you in a negative way sometimes, where you feel active, but then you'll see the app and oh well, I'm not doing that well?
No, I think it's more motivating in that sense, because then it says like, oh, you can exert yourself like this much for a workout. And you can like be prepared and be like, okay, this is like I can give it my all. I can do like this much, and it'll tell you like when certain things are being too straining on the body. So like prevent injury, to prevent like tiresome. Like if you got like a horrible night's sleep the past few nights, and then you're like, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna go try and set my bench PR, and it's just gonna be like, this is probably not a good idea. But
stop you right there, buddy.
oh yeah, no, but it's funny though, because it like this watch will tell me like if I had a productive workout, if I'm like what mode I'm in. Like I think after I did my first like half Ironman, like it told me it was an unproductive workout.
What?
Which makes sense in that sense, because your body's not like, you're not really supposed to be burning like 4,000 calories in
when
one.
you go like in deficit, is an unproductive workout.
Yeah,
Is that how it works?
it'll say based off of like where, like if you've waited too long for a workout, if you've like if you've if you waited too long for a workout, if you did like a really intense training session yesterday and you're about to do a really intense training session today, like it'll say like probably not the best idea. Like your training performance like is decreased because of like all the stuff that's going on. I would recommend Whoop. I think Whoop's really cool. I know a few people that use it. One of my
And
colleagues.
it's just a bracelet, right?
Yeah, and like you get the nice thing about Whoop is like you can like charge it while it's on your wrist. So it's like they give you a battery pack that you can put on, and so you don't have to take it off, so that like it stays on. I think that's the issue.
Wait, how does it work?
It's like Whoop.
No, how do you keep it on while it's charging?
Oh, so there's like a battery pack you plug into the wall, and then once that's charged, you take that off and you put that on the actual Whoop itself. And it's just like a bit bulky for like 10, 15 minutes to an hour, and then like you could take that off and then recharge that.
Yeah, that's something that I don't like, man. Like the idea of having something attached to your body the whole time.
You get used to it.
I know, but I don't think it's healthy. Like in the end, it's just a battery attached to your body. It must. it has to do something to your brain, to your
5G.
Yeah,
it's coming in for the brainwaves.
I might be the guy that wears aluminum foil on his head, but I don't know. I still think that there's something not zen about having technology on your body, right?
Yeah, I'd say it becomes like a weird addiction.
Yeah,
that
not
sense.
only that, it's literally like radiations and shit coming out of.
Hey, you're on another level here.
Yeah, no, man. Like I've read so much stuff about it. I don't think it's the healthiest shit. But on the other hand, you get healthy data from it. So
Yeah. So
yeah.
the
there's,
pros and cons of it. Yeah.
pros and cons here. You gotta pick your poison. But if expert athletes do it, then
don't call
I
me an
guess it
expert.
makes sense. I guess it makes sense. Yeah.
If Cameron tells us to get a Whoop, I'll definitely get a
We'll
Whoop.
getting. Well, I guess we're getting.
Are you
the book,
getting
man.
one? I was
Are they
on the
sponsoring
fence,
us?
man.
Yeah, the sponsor is. We're talking about Garmin. We're talking about. We're talking about. We
Please.
Garmin is
sponsors of the
definitely
show.
sponsoring Cameron.
No,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah,
Whoop can
not.
sponsor us too.
Did you get any sponsorships or anything?
No, so I mean like so I did a fundraiser, and one of the part of the fundraiser was a fundraising for this organization called Lymphoma Research Foundation, or LRF for short. There's actually like a triathlon team. This guy Dan Russell Anderson, or Dan Anderson. He helps lead the triathlon team, which helps like fundraise and everything. I got in touch with him, and he got me like. I paid for like a few things and stuff like that, but they've sent me like gear to like performance t-shirts and like and that
Nice.
kind of stuff, which is nice. But I also have like a tri-suit that I wear during the race, that's decked out in like the LRF like logos and like brand imagery and stuff. And it's not really a sponsorship in that sense, but they have like the team has like I know Dan, the guy that helps run it, he gets a few sponsors just because he posts so much on social media. I feel like that's where I slack.
Yeah.
In terms of that. But he has a few. I definitely don't have any sponsorships.
Don't worry, man.
I would love a
We're
sponsorship.
gonna help you out.
Yeah, I would love a
Couch
sponsorship.
collectors.
You have
With
to
the
help us
shirts.
out first, but
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
you can sponsor us.
Yes, exactly. I'll get for the next race. I'll put the couch podcast.
Yeah, we'll put a couch on your
Yes,
chest.
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
With our faces. But no, before starting to touch on that point,
Yeah.
I actually wanted to ask you. So since I've known you, you've always been this guy, super athletic, doing Ironman, doing runs, doing swims, doing whatever. You mentioned once that it wasn't always like this.
Yeah.
Would you like to elaborate on that one?
Yeah, I'd say back in college, I would kind of work out in respect of just working out to work out, and kind of the mindset of like, oh, I'll do a bit of workout so I can have like a drink or two and like have Chipotle or Boojum, like so that like I don't have to worry about that. But yeah, I would say like I was like kind of into running a little bit. Like my dad growing up, like he's been heavy into triathlons and marathons. My dad's done like 3 full Ironmans and a number of like half Ironmans. So he like I growing up, like I was kind of like born into it a little bit, whereas like seeing my dad participate in these races, like it was kind of like it feel like it was inevitable that I would start to do it just because he was being like encouraging in that sense. But I never like really thought that I'd get into it just because I like never really swam that much, didn't really cycle for like cardio on that purpose. Like obviously ran for like warm-ups for like strength training and stuff like that, but never really like got fully into it from that perspective. I think what kind of switched, it was during COVID. I was like getting so bored inside in Chicago. that I would just go out for runs, where it was when it was accessible and when you could, and like that was the first time in a while that I did so much like actual running in the span of a month. I think 1 month I did 150 plus miles in 1 month, so that was probably about like 5 miles per day. So that's probably, I'm trying to think of kilometer perspective, but I'm trying to think what would be that, and that would be
And we probably can check
150 miles.
yeah.
that. Yeah. 80 kilometers?
Let's see.
It's the other way around. It's 240 kilometers.
I always get confused.
Yeah. So that was when I kind of like started having the conversation like, yeah, I could do a marathon. I think I could do this. But there wasn't any like training plan set in stone, and like there was like a time in college where I swam a lot just cuz I got into a bit of an accident where like really impacted the way I was like walking and running, where I didn't think I would do really like impact sports for a while, or
What
impact.
happened?
So I was actually on a run in my campus, and I was clipped by a car on a run. So a car came from behind. I luckily got out of the way, but clipped me, like hit me directly on the hip. Didn't I was like, doctor told me it was a bit of a medical anomaly in that sense, where I didn't break a single bone in my body, didn't get a concussion, got really lucky. The bruise was nasty. The bruise was gnarly, and like
Was it like on your butt cheek or?
it was like directly on the hip. So like I had a lot of trouble like sleeping and walking afterwards, and then
Were you limping?
yeah,
Yeah.
like it was like when it happened to like I think like I was like walking on crutches for a while, like actually like probably not. I was told to walk on crutches for a while, and then I just got so sick of it, just being like trying to walk around, that I was just pushed myself a bit further, which was probably stupid. But like did a lot of physical therapy, and then a lot of training just to build up strength in the hip again. And like part of that was swimming. So like I had that base, which like really helped me. But then like when I started running like pretty intensely during COVID, and I realized that like the hip isn't actually that bad, and I can like do long distances, I was like, oh, I think I could do this. I think I could probably go do like maybe like a smaller triathlon, or do a little bit more. And then I moved over to Dublin, where I started to get a bit more into it, because I brought over my dad's old bike, and it's like an old road bike that he got custom built, and luckily we're like the same size, so we're lucky the same size. So what we did,
From Chicago.
yeah, that was pretty expensive.
Do you have
Thanks,
those
Dad.
rollers at home where you can?
Oh my God, those are
I don't know how to
terrifying.
Yeah, I don't
So
know how
those-
to explain, but
so
I
yeah,
saw them.
it's like you
you
can-
can fall back from them.
Oh my God, like you need to like practice those. I think those are called a roller trainer in that sense, where it's like you basically cycle in place, but you don't have anything to protect you. So it's like you have to stay
Gotta
within
find the
that zone.
balance.
Yeah. I've never done that, and I probably will never do that, just because
Why?
it's terrifying.
I
Because I don't know.
Ricardo's saving you from a fall.
But yeah, exactly. But I have a trainer that you can like hook up your bike to.
Nice.
Yeah, so you could take off the back wheel and then put your bike to. It's I currently set up at home, so yeah, so I can do that, and like it has like different things to track power output and cadence and stuff like that. So like it tells me how far I go. It tells me how much I'm working and stuff like
And
that.
you find it better than going out to the Wicklow Mountains.
So that's what I used to do. I'd say like when I didn't have that trainer, I recently got it like maybe like a month ago. I would just go out and do like climb cycles, where I'd go into Wicklow Mountains, do like a stupid high climb, and then that'd just be an hour workout in that sense. What's nice about like the trainer, and what's nice about like data in that perspective, is like you can actually work endurance, you can work at specific levels, like you can work in specific heart rate zones. So then you don't need to like get stopped by a traffic light. You could just continually train for an hour from that perspective. I think that's where I'll probably see the most improvement in my next race, just because I have this and I have access to this. Just because I like last time I didn't have a regularly set training plan, so I was just like, okay, Saturdays are gonna be my big bike day. I'll go for an hour-long cycle, I'll go for a 2.5-hour-long cycle, just see where I can go, and not really having a focus from that perspective. So like I think when we talk about like Whoop and we talk about Garmin, like the amount of data you have from that makes people so much better, because then you're able to work in like zones, and like not overexert yourself from a certain perspective. You see your heart rate climbing too high, then like you can like, okay, I'll track back a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I cut you off. Sorry, you were just running us through the story.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So I was out for a bit. I just didn't think that I would be like at another place where I can do like more impact sports or more impact running from that sense. I really completely avoided impact running. I think like when I got a trainer in that sense, it was basically just like squatting every day just to build hip flexibility, hip mobility in that sense. My back does get sore still. And there's definitely still lingering effects. Like I'll definitely probably have to get a hip replacement.
Really?
No. but
I
but
don't
like
see you running after that, buddy.
no, it was definitely a build up from then. But it was really like COVID where I kind of realized like, oh, I can do longer efforts and I can withstand the impact of everything. So then from that, I kind of like bit the bullet and signed up for my first race, which was like 2 years ago at this point, 2 years in October, in Italy. So that, and then
Yeah, I
it
remember.
was kind of like, okay, I'm spending a lot of money to participate in this race. So I need to like actually stay motivated to do something. So it's like that encouragement also.
What kind of race was it?
So that was so I went straight into half Ironmans. I didn't do anything prior to that. Like I didn't even participate in like a marathon race or like a race in general. Maybe like a Thanksgiving Day like 5K in that sense in the US. For all the crazy people that woke up like a week after, or not the week after, the night after, like going out on Wednesday and just doing a 5K in the morning. But besides that, like just dove straight into it. Um, and honestly, it was like great experience. It was just like I didn't know what to expect getting into the event just because I've never participated in that environment and everything. But yeah.
Why did you just go to Italy instead of just trying out an like normal easier race here in Dublin because you were here at the time?
I don't know. Probably a good question. I probably could have done that. I think the allure of like traveling to a different country or traveling to a different place was really cool. In that respect, and like seeing seeing an environment from that. I feel like a lot of my trips now are more so focused on like endurance races and stuff, which is kind of funny. Like where I'm like not going to a place to like be a tourist, just going to a place and like racing in that respect. But yeah, I don't know. I had like the motivation from my dad to kind of just be like, just do it. Like why not? Like he's like he probably like from like talking with him and kind of getting an understanding of like where I'm at physically to actually like participate, and he's like, oh, you're good, just try for it.
How many kilometers or miles?
Yeah, so that was half Ironman race is almost a 2 kilometer swim, so it's like 1.8 1.9 kilometers, and then it's a 90 kilometer bike.
Running.
What? No, a 1.9 kilometer swim,
okay.
and then
1.8 swimming, man.
and then
it's not better. It's just
and then 90 kilometer bike, and then the 21.1 kilometer run. Yeah, so I immediately dove into it. I mean, like
immediately, like this was your first
race.
Ironman.
Yeah, it's first half Ironman, first like actual official race that I participated in.
Instead of doing a marathon or something.
No, I didn't do anything like
you
that.
Just went
first.
into this.
He went straight into it, which was probably a bit wild. And then the following year I did a marathon and then another half Ironman race. So I'm building up. The next goal is hopefully a full. Wow. Yeah.
So you went to Italy, did that.
Yeah.
And then you really fell in love with it, or how does it continue?
Yeah, I'd say I got the itch definitely after I did it. So the race was in Sardinia. And that was an amazing location. The only annoying thing about it was that it was just after like the heavy period, so like a lot of shops and a lot of restaurants were closed. But it was absolutely unbelievable scenes. Like every vantage point on the cycle was absolutely gorgeous. Like the water was so clear and so warm, and it was like you like comparing it to like a swim here in Dublin, like you can't like see more than like I'd say a foot in front of you. So it's like a bit eerie and a bit scary from that perspective. But like
go to Sardinia or
in Dublin versus Sardinia.
Dublin, yeah.
Sardinia was like unbelievable. Like
Yeah.
it was truly like you'd get distracted like on like me and Sophie, my girlfriend, like went to we did like the cycling route together like in our car that we had rented, and it was a pretty hilly climb, and I was kind of freaking out as I was driving, being like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my
I'm gonna
god.
have to cycle through this.
Yes, exactly. And then we got to like the opposite side. There was like a huge hill, and it was just on the coastline, and you're just cycling and with just views for days, and it was just unbelievable. Yeah, it was very pretty. So that's also like another thing, getting distracted on the route. But yeah, like immediately dove into and went over to Italy. But yeah, for the race.
And then you came back and
Came back
put
and
the
was
next
like,
milestone. Or...
yeah, came back and was like, okay, like definitely want to do it again. Have to figure out what I want to do next. I was kind of thinking maybe do like build up a bit of groundwork, kind of see where I wanted to go. I guess that next year I plan to do a marathon and then a half Ironman after it. So that was marathon was in Stockholm, and then the half Ironman race was in Cervia in Italy as well. So that's another big one. It's a big race for a lot of like Ironman racers and professional athletes to go to, from that respect. But yeah, I got the itch and then kind of made it continue going from that side. And so like I think I have like the slow buildup of going towards that full, and I'm planning to do one towards the end of the year this year. But it's just a whole nother realm of like training and like being taken back by it. Like it gets pretty intense in terms of training. That I'll be like a hermit and not do anything like for the next like after June, like after I do the race, just be like training up on for that. So that'll be intense. But yeah.
And of course, like along this journey, then you started the IronCam, right?
Yeah. So right in January, so like I did the race in October, and then in January, I mentioned this organization, the Lymphoma Research Foundation, before. So I started fundraising for the Lymphoma Research Foundation because my stepfather was diagnosed with T-cell lymphoma, which is a pretty rare form of the disease itself and the cancer. So it was pretty tough going from like I was home and I was like with him and like he was starting not to feel well, and then I came back to Dublin just because I was home for a month and I was like going back because of work and everything. And like
Were
working.
you aware?
What?
Back then?
Oh, I had no idea. It wasn't until about like 2 weeks before I got back into Dublin where we found out that something was actually wrong and that Bob got the diagnosis because so my stepfather's name is Bob. But he, essentially, they went to the hospital. They were taking a bunch of tests. They said nothing was wrong. And then we got like they got a second perspective, or I think what it's called. And they said no, like there's the buildup of these unhealthy T cells, and they are cancerous. So thankfully we got the second because he was not in a good, like we were at home one night, I think one night, and I just remember him just being like in so much pain, and we were just like, like what's going on here? So it was a bit weird. We didn't know what was going on, but the reason I started kind of fundraising was because I came all the way back to Dublin and I wasn't there to be present with him. So my thinking was I knew I had these like races coming up for the following year, in terms of the signups and everything. My decision was that I wanted to be as present as possible and show kind of the support when I couldn't be there with him, just to show like, okay, our family and friends being so supportive of him, and really driving to that. So I made this Instagram account and made this fundraising page through the LRF.
Name of the Instagram account so people can check it out.
Is the IronCam. I'm not really posting too much on it regularly anymore.
Don't worry.
But it is the IronCam in that sense. And I use that to kind of be. I didn't want to bombard everybody with my normal social medias.
Man. We were on the site today and we noticed that you have a 12K milestone, but then you collected 10K and you stopped.
Yeah,
so let's keep going. Let's keep it going.
So I made the official end date after the marathon. So yeah. I was like okay, because I was still talking with people from the organization and this guy Dan Anderson who does the triathlon team. So I was like, I'll just do one of my plan is to do. I'll fundraise for the marathon, and then after the marathon, I'll be an ambassador with Dan Anderson and the entire LRF triathlon team, and kind of build support through that page because his is more ongoing. I just had like a firm end date just because it would be kind of a lot just to continue to post and continue
No,
to stay
100%.
people.
No, I get
Yeah.
I get the idea.
Yeah.
But still, I think is really great.
Yeah.
And I totally get the idea of like wanting to being present for your family.
Yeah.
When I heard that it happened, I remember that I texted you. I didn't tell you why I wanted to text you.
Yeah.
But my dad and my mom both got diagnosed with cancer.
Yeah.
And it was taken way ahead of time, so no major treatment was needed.
Yeah.
But my father had melanoma and my mom breast cancer.
Yeah.
And I remember that they had a totally different philosophy in how they communicated the news to us. They totally cut us off.
Yeah.
So I was in New York for 2 months, and then I came back, and I remember that my mom had like a tube coming, almost coming out of her breast.
Yeah.
And she lost 10 kilos, and I didn't know why.
Yeah.
So, and with my dad, for probably 3 months, he was really absent.
Yeah.
And he was feeling bad.
Yeah.
And no one knew why. We just thought it was sick.
Yeah.
And then they told us that it was green light, and he actually had cancer, and he was doing tests and everything.
Yeah.
So totally different way in how it was communicated
Yeah.
in comparison to yours.
Yeah.
But also totally different reaction from my side, because I didn't have the idea.
Oh,
not
that
even
this was something. Yeah.
Yeah, or let me do something that not only can help my my parent,
Yeah.
but also the whole research done around the disease, right? So that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's like it comes down to like just protecting us from like sad news and
Yeah,
everything,
yeah,
and like
100%.
making sure that everything's good. Yeah, because like my mom probably still has that philosophy where she's just like, I don't want to see you upset. I don't
Yeah.
want to see we don't want to look at things in a negative situation. And I think like she's one of the most positive people in the world too, and like she doesn't want us to see that side. But then there's also comes where it's like, oh, we want to know what's going on.
We're like to their parents probably we don't come off as adults.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
we want to know
exactly.
stuff. We want to.
Yeah, exactly.
100%.
But yeah, so I found it and like I found out about it and immediately wanted to take action just because like I knew the next time I would see them would be, I think it was, I'm trying to think of the last time, because the next time I showed up home was probably the following like December, I think. So it was a while before I actually like came home.
And he was undergoing through treatment, right?
Yeah, so like he was undergoing treatment throughout that process, but it wasn't like a full year before I was like home in that respect. But yeah, like my mom came to visit like a couple times, but I was never actually home. Was never actually like there with him.
Yeah.
So like I never kind of saw the process like going on. But yeah, or seeing like how he's doing and his health change from that perspective. But but yeah, like it was a weird time just because I didn't know, because like I was like, what can I do? Like what is there for me to do?
At which point do you connect the dots where you get to know about this news and then you start creating this page?
I think it was more so like from after following it, I wanted, it was tough with like the professional life and like career and like me having a job and like trying to figure out opportunity to go home, because I was just given basically like at my previous job, which I'm like incredibly thankful for, they gave me a month to go back home and work remotely in that respect. But because I had just taken it, it was tough to kind of also do that as well. It was a pretty quick turnaround, just because I think we were planning to do the marathon, and I was trying to think of like a way that like I can make like an end date for a fundraiser in that sense, but also work towards something and kind of continue to build it. So it kind of fell into place after like I started to kind of look up and do like understand more about the disease itself, understand like what's being done, the organizations that are helping like lead research in that sense, and that kind of clicked in my head, like I can do something to help from that side. So it was a really quick turnaround, just because I wanted to kind of make myself aware of what's happening especially with him, especially what might happen. Obviously no one wants to think about that, but just kind of just thinking about like what to expect in that sense. So it was like just seeing all that, and then seeing different pages and understanding what you need to do to kind of talk about it. So like immediately connected the dots to go towards like an organization that I soaked up a lot of information from, which was the LRF. I think there's other organizations that do a good job of like doing like research and charity work for it. But I just soaked up a lot of information from LRF, and I saw an opportunity, and I wanted to do it. And they had opportunities. I reached out to Dana Bork, who is a key person that works for the LRF. They told me of an opportunity to kind of create my own page, but also work with other people as well. I decided to just create the page and just go from there.
So it was kind of a way to feel close to your stepdad
Yeah.
without being there.
Yeah, exactly. And I think a big element too is I think when these kinds of things happen, I think sometimes you don't want to communicate out to the public in that respect, just because it's obviously awful news and you don't want to be like not a downer in that sense, but you also want to have the support from everybody. And like I think that support, and I think that came from the page, and that came through like fundraising in that sense, like really drove a really positive note on my family, just because my sister got involved. She started training and started fundraising for the event, for her personal marathon that she did, and yeah, like it I think there's a degree of where people kind of avoid talking about stuff like that, and then but there's that element where it's like the support that friends and family give really drives up your mental health and really drives up your positivity towards it. So there's that side to it. So that's kind of why I dove into it.
Yeah, man. Like whenever you get a chance of checking the page and also checking your personal profile, you're really amazed by the kind of positive support that goes through
Yeah.
all of that. And it almost feels like a Cinderella story. Like you can't lose. Like
Yeah.
you're set to win. And I feel like that makes a difference.
Yeah, I think it really drove an impact from my mom's side. I think like because she was like she's been like a rock in this whole process. Like she's right now so Bob actually just got his blood transplant 2 days ago. So we found a donor that like matched perfectly
Man.
for healthy T cells.
Great.
So he's currently undergoing treatment and everything. So that's fantastic. But my mom's been a rock. She's been like going in, working full time still, and then going into the hospital to kind of hang out with him, keep him occupied. Avi, he's still working, and he's crazy. Like
He's still working?
Yeah, he
What?
told me today.
From the hospital?
Yeah.
What does he do? Sorry.
So he works for a cartage company or a trucking company.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's working. No, he's not driving the trucks. He's not driving the trucks.
Okay, I was like-
But he works within the board of a team from there. But
Wow.
yeah. So
Yeah.
but he I got off the phone with him today, and he's like, yeah, I feel good. Like because the transplant happened 2 days ago, and like you start to see kind of like basically what happens is you. Oops, sorry. I almost destroyed the mic. Basically what happens is like when you get these new T cells, when you get like a plasma transplant or blood transplant, you basically start at ground zero. So you have like your new birthday is what they call it.
Yeah.
Because you basically have the immune system of a newborn baby. Like
Yes,
you have to build up the immunities, and that they keep you in the hospital for over a month just to
man.
check and
Yeah.
like give all the vaccines and everything. So it's like
He's gonna have to take it really slowly.
yeah, and he's been
Shotting stuff.
yeah he's crazy in that fact. He was telling me today he did a 45-minute cycle like inside.
Yeah, I was actually imagining
At the
like,
hospital.
Yeah, at the
I was
hospital.
imagining like finding him in the hospital doing chin-ups. Stay
Yeah.
normal, fucker.
he's insane. Like yesterday he told me he's like, yeah, I walked 5 miles. I was like, how did you walk
He
5
must be
miles?
so happy, man.
Oh no, like he's like his one grievance with the hospital is that they don't have comfy chairs because he doesn't like sitting in the bed
Yeah.
in the hospital bed. So he's like, these chairs suck.
Yeah.
But so he was telling me he did 5 miles of him walking in a circle in like around the hallways, and I would drive myself insane doing that. But he's like,
How little is the hallway, man?
oh, it's like it's not like that small, but it's like big enough where you can do laps. But he's just doing laps and like
5
repeated,
miles?
yeah, 5 miles for like so. He's crazy, but he's probably like from doing that and getting on the bike and then working throughout all of this is like just the mental toughness, the strength that he has is just like insane. Like he's he's him. He's him. Like
Yeah.
he's built different from that
Yeah, yeah.
respect. But
That's
yeah,
great.
he is an idol, and from like fighting through this, and it's been almost a year now. Or actually more than a year. It's March. I forgot it was
Yeah.
March.
Yeah.
But it's been more than a year now. And just battling through it, and like
Yeah, because first post of the IronCam was February 2022.
yeah. So I was like, it was right. So I guess like we found out about it then. And then like I guess I wanted to create the page, get in touch with the right people. And then before I made it publicly known, I think in that first day of when we launched it, I think we raised about 3,000 US dollars, which is unbelievable. And that was like the first milestone that we had set. And so like I was thinking that like, oh, 3,000 up to the actual marathon, that's probably a great milestone. And then that happened within like 3 hours. So like the amount of support that came, I literally was like on a run in a treadmill at Trinity when I set the page up, and then finished my training workout, got a text from my sister being like, we already hit your milestone.
Yeah.
And it had been about 45 minutes to an hour and a half.
And what did you promise for the 3K milestone?
So I didn't promise anything for the 3K milestone. I quickly realized that there was different, like obviously to kind of keep people kind of involved in the page and keep people coming back, like there needed to be some sort of like fun stuff that happened. From when we we started to quickly raise money from that side, and like I think within the first month we raised a lot, and I think we got up to like 5K. So at like from 5K, me and my sister were talking, and we wanted to get a tattoo, to kind of market. So we'd said, okay, if we get to 8K, we'll both get a tattoo. And we'll make a decision on what it is and what Bob would want, from that side. And then, 10K was getting an ear piercing. And then, which I have, and 12K was to bleach my hair.
Yeah.
So
man.
it's
That's why he stopped it.
yeah,
He was
exactly.
gonna go wild after that face tattoo for 15K.
But it was funny because we were looking back on it, and it was like the milestone progression should probably be the opposite. Like the bleaching hair will go away.
Yeah.
Ear piercing will go away
Yeah,
if you
the
take
tattoo
it out.
should have been the last one.
Yeah, the tattoo probably should have been the last one. But I said I was joking around with my mom and my girlfriend, being like, I'll shave my head if it reaches a certain point, and they're like, absolutely not. Like,
Why?
no way you can do that. I don't know. I
Why
think
not?
just
You have like a weird shape.
yeah. I guess the one defining feature is my hair, and they're like, absolutely not, Cameron. You can't do this. You
All
can't
the
do this
moms
to
are
us.
obsessed with their child's hair, man.
Yeah,
My
exactly.
mom too.
I was telling my mom a couple days ago that I was gonna get a mullet as a joke.
Yeah.
And I was telling my friend, because my friend's getting married in June, or July this year. And I said that I was gonna have a feather earring and a mullet for his wedding pictures, and he says, Cameron, I will not invite you to the wedding if you do that.
Oh,
But yeah, reverse order from that perspective. And then from like the tattoo, like when we reached 8K, like it was right when we kind of started, about like midway through the fundraiser, about like when we reached probably about 5K, my sister wanted to get involved. My sister wanted to do something, like her seeing me train for the marathon. She wanted to do a marathon herself, but I think it was a bit harder because there weren't any events that lined up with mine. So she did a virtual marathon by herself, which is insane. Like you get so much adrenaline from like racing and like from running in a race and being surrounded by people that it like helps bit up. So she did one literally by herself with like my dad, my mom on a bike, and like her fiance at the time, now husband, like was driving a car with Bob at different points, kind of say hi, and kind of mark the occasion. But so we decided that like at the 5K mark, she was gonna train for the marathon herself. And we got a tattoo when she visited. I think it was ahead of. So she got a tattoo on her arm and her forearm, and then I got a tattoo on my chest. So the tattoo is the what is it called? Well, oh no, that's my grandfather. So yeah, so I have a tattoo. I have a tattoo on my for all the listeners. I have a tattoo on my back shoulder from my grandfather, Willie, which is kind of funny. But then the tattoo I got was the Trinity symbol, which is like in like Irish culture and Irish heritage, because Bob has some Irish roots as well. And we wanted him to have a say at what the tattoo was. So me and my sister collected like a few symbols that we thought were good. And he picked the Trinity. Or Trinity not.
We went to Trinity, so I feel so bad to ask this man. But is it like the logo?
Oh
of
no
Trinity? Or is it like a harp?
So it's like a
This thing.
Oh, okay.
So it's like
okay, yeah.
yes,
like
it's
a Celtic.
like it's like a Celtic like knot.
Triskel or not?
Oh yeah, exactly. And then it has a circle in the middle to resemble.
like,
yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
I got a
You have it
similar
too?
one. I got a similar one. Yeah.
Oh,
It's
okay.
Celtic Triskel.
Yeah, so we got that. We settled on that. The placement of it, the reason I got it on my chest. So it's kind of funny, or not kind of funny, but like when people ask me about it, like, oh, did you get a tattoo from, like because you're in Ireland? I was like, no, it's part of a fundraiser. Shooting them down immediately. But the reason why I got it in the chest is because that's where Bob's port is for his chemotherapy.
Yeah.
So all of his chemotherapy gets funneled straight through his chest on his right side. So I got it in the same spot in which he got it. So
That's beautiful.
so that's where the reason of the placement, and then the actual symbol of it was him picking it out and kind of seeing from a list. And my mom was not too happy about my sister getting it on the forearm in a big spot.
Man.
But it was funny because my sister was getting married later that year. She's like, these photos, they're gonna be in the photos. My mom was kind of freaking out, but we told her it was. I mean, she inevitably saw that it was for like an amazing cause and everything. So that's kind of the story behind the
she
milestones.
supported,
Yeah. But yeah, I guess that's that was the reasoning behind the milestones. The 8K, the 10K, 12K didn't reach the 12K, but really
because you stopped it.
yes. Well, I mean, I was like, okay, yeah, I stopped it. But for like in total, I think we raised about $10,040. Which was $10,080. There you go.
Yeah.
And
We checked.
You just added to €40.
just a quick right before the podcast. But yeah, so raised that much. I think was within. So from the first post was February 22nd to the actual race, which was I think June 20th. It was about like within 4 months, which was unbelievable.
Wow.
Yeah. It was
That's
really
crazy.
we were really happy with like the outcome of everything. And I guess little shout out to myself.
Totally,
Yeah.
man. I love this.
Oh, no,
Totally.
Shout out to myself, man.
Oh no, not from that perspective. But in March the LRF is doing a award ceremony for fundraisers and for so on, and I was nominated for endurance athlete of the year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Congrats.
So
Wow.
that's where the shout out was coming from. But yeah.
Did you post this at all?
No, so the actual award ceremony is going to be on March 14th. So it'll be at like 2 a.m. But I'll probably plan on doing a big post on my normal social media, because I kind of like using the IronCam as kind of like, okay, this was this period and it's kind of this relic now. So I think from here on out, I'll probably continue to post on my normal social media in terms of like racings and stuff, but also promoting the LRF page and the LRF triathlon team page, because they do an amazing work. Dan Anderson, who is a co-nominee for this award ceremony, my competitor in that sense, is still runs the page and still has that going. So I'm still an ambassador under him in that page. So yeah.
Can I ask you?
Yeah.
Because we've been listening to your perspective of the story, but when did you tell your mom and your stepdad? What did they say? How did they react?
To the fundraiser?
That you were exactly going.
I think I brought my mom to tears a bit. I think I was talking about it with her and Bob, kind of on a FaceTime call, saying like, this is something that I wanted to do. I got in touch with the people like Dana and the LRF team, to kind of understand what the steps to need to be done. There obviously was a bit of planning with like posts and stories and stuff like that with social media, and kind of the organizing of the actual page and trying to figure out what to do. But they were like really supportive of it. I don't think they realized at the time what would come of it. And I think they're just really happy from my perspective. Yeah. I feel like I'm saying that perspective a lot.
Yeah, no worries, man. Yeah, it makes you so conscious to be recorded. To be honest.
I thought I was gonna say like. I probably I'm saying like too much, maybe.
I didn't notice, but yeah, probably when I'm gonna have to edit, it's gonna hit different.
Just remove it. But yeah.
But yeah, man. Actually, we did like 1 hour of recording. How are you feeling?
Oh shit. That's
Yeah.
it feels like
Time
it's been
flies,
15 minutes.
right?
Yeah, time is
Yeah.
flying.
But probably for wrapping up, I wanted to ask you a couple of curiosity questions. The first one is, we talked about the Garmin. I just thought about it. Do you know how much is your VO2 max?
Yes. So I was actually a bit upset by this, but it was funny because I was doing all my tests this week, and I was talking to my trainer, and I thought I had a really high cycling VO2 max, but she's like, oh, it could be just like mixed results and like based off like the output and everything.
Give me the number.
So my watch is telling me that I have a 58 VO2 max from running.
A 58.
A 58, yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So-
well, that's still above average. Though.
Yeah, it would, yeah.
After 50 is above average, I think.
I think males it's like 45 is the average.
Sorry, guys. Can you explain to the listeners not understanding what you're talking about?
Okay.
What this is?
VO2 max. Do you know what it is?
Is the oxygen in the blood?
It's the amount of we get an exact, but it's
let
the
me
amount of
get the
yeah.
exact. Yeah.
I'll let
Because
Lorenzo.
I have the Apple Watch tracks it too.
Yeah, and it's like it's an estimate.
So much.
but the thing about it is you need to get a full test set up.
So here it says, is a measure of the amount of oxygen in the protein, hemoglobin, in your red blood cells. To function properly, your body needs a certain level of oxygen circulating in the blood. Your red blood cells are loaded, saturated with oxygen in the lungs, and carried throughout your body.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And you could have different VO2 maxes for different types of training. But the only way to truly test it is if you get hooked up to like an oxygen, like a full test, and that's something I would love to do. Just to see how different it is for my watch, because I think my watch is giving me a bit too much of an ego.
Oh, actually, I think I read the wrong definition.
Oh,
Sorry, I noticed.
No way. That
Like,
sounded so
here.
official.
I know, but this one also says is a measurement of your VO2 max, which is the maximum amount of oxygen your body can consume during exercise. So, also called cardiorespiratory fitness, this is a useful measurement for everyone from the very fit to those managing illness. A higher VO2 max indicates a higher level of cardio fitness and endurance. So, yeah.
I think the other one you mentioned was more so like bringing like oxygen to
level,
the muscles, and from this one, yeah. But I think you can have different VO2 maxes per exercise, like says my watch. I don't believe the second one for 1 second, but it says my cycling VO2 max is near 78, which is not
That's
true.
great.
That would be professional level.
That would be doping level.
That would be like Lance
That would
Armstrong,
be
Tour de
peptides
France,
level.
yeah, Tour de France, like
This guy's on TRT or something.
but I don't think it's that high because I got a bad reading on my last like FTP test, functional threshold power test for my cycling test that I did this past week. So I don't think that's the correct number, but that's where I'm at.
I don't even know how bad I should feel, man, considering the fact that I started from 52 when I got the watch, and now at 44.
Which is worse.
It's terrible, man. It's like
Sorry, I have no idea.
no, but
what's better.
because I can't wear it when I do like grappling, so it doesn't track my VO2 max then, and I only put it when I'm at the gym doing strength exercises.
Well, I mean that makes sense from strength exercises if you're not. Doing
I don't know.
like
Maybe I
cardio.
should start running more with the Apple Watch to track it.
There you go.
But yeah, no, that's cool. Second question was, you talked about marathon, Ironman, everything that is related to endurance. Of course, I follow Kipchoge, which is a marathon runner.
Yeah.
And there was lots of controversy for the shoes that he was using. The one that he used to. Yeah, are those the?
These
the ones?
are
Yeah,
these
I
are a
wanted to double
form of
check.
it. So these are a form of it. So I'm wearing them right now just so I can like walk around in them and just get used to them a bit. But I think the shoes in question were like carbon plated shoes. which give you more response back when you're running and when you plant,
Kind of jump.
and you feel the difference. Like it is.
Have you used it?
I've used it while running, and I wanted just to use them just because you feel so good in them.
And they're not banned.
They're not banned. They're race legal. And I'm planning to use these in my upcoming race this year, the upcoming races this year. But you feel infinitely better. Like I had to do my 5K test this week, in my normal running shoes. And I think I did it in 1905. I think if I did this, in these shoes, I'd probably finish in like the like not mid to high, like I'd say high 18 minutes. It gives you that much of a leg up because it's just so responsive, and like as soon as you plant, you feel like you're being springboarded like forward. So the shoes I'm wearing are shoes called Nike Zoom. I forget what they're called. Nike Zoom X's. So they're and it is like you feel like a superhuman a bit. But you're not supposed to wear it often. The only reason I'm wearing them right now is just to get used to them. I walk around in them. I won't run in them. Like maybe once or twice off the bike just to get used to it and get like the foot used to it. But because supposedly there might be risks with your knees if you wear them too often. From that side. But yeah, they're crazy. They're really cool. Like it feels like you're walking on a marshmallow.
Yeah,
It's insane.
just wanted to check. Yeah, cool, clear.
But I usually I just got a new pair of running shoes. But I'm like using on Cloud running shoes, these things called Cloud Monsters. And they have like a pretty big platform just to reduce the impact, just because I like the cushioning of it. And I just got a new pair of Asics, so I'll be using that for majority of my training. But I was so upset when I was talking to Avery, my coach, because I was like, hey, I just got these Nike Z Maxes, and they're carbon plated. I'm thinking about just using these and just getting a new pair every time they run out of like the responsiveness. She's like, yeah, not a good idea. Not a good idea to use them nonstop. They're only made for kind of like race day, which is so upsetting because like these just collect dust in my house, and I'm like, I just want to wear them.
Yeah.
I just want to wear them. Yeah. But yeah, there is a bit of controversy around it, just because like it really I think Matthew, one of our friends has he been on the podcast yet?
No, but we're gonna have him.
Yes, but he wears these I think in training sessions and stuff. But they're crazy. Yeah, the amount of gear, like it is crazy from a sport perspective, how much gear plays into account. Like having the right wetsuit, having the right running shoes, having the right tri-bike, having like, yeah, it's pretty crazy. Because I'm using a 10-year-old bike, and if I was using a new like tri-bike where you can go down in the saddle a bit more, I would shave off like minutes off my time, just because of aerodynamics and everything.
Wow.
Yeah, it's insane. The whole thing is pretty crazy.
Crazy.
Yeah. But yeah.
Anyways, well, are over 1 hour. We don't want to have Lorenzo editing for 24 hours again. So we're gonna leave it here.
Yeah.
Cameron, thank you so much for coming. I find your story very inspirational.
Thank you.
I hope you inspired more people listening to this.
Thank you so much. I'm excited. I was really happy to join the show. I was really excited when Lorenzo gave me the text being like, "We want you on."
You are selected.
Yeah.
The couch wants you.
Don't say that, because people are gonna start like coming to me, man. Why wasn't I selected? No,
Ricardo's sitting on the bench.
Yeah, we're gonna have the Icos episode with Ricardo, man. I'll tell you more about it later then.
Yeah.
No, but man, thank you, for coming. It was a great pleasure, and I hope that people listening to this episode are gonna take something out of it, something really great. And yeah, thank you, man.
Yeah,
massive.
Thank you, and thanks for having me on. This was awesome.
You did amazing, man. Yeah, I had no doubt. You're a talkative person. I had no doubt. But yeah, thank you. It was a great experience.
Amazing.